we begin tonight with a good deal more than we knew yesterday about what so many people are now calling the Heaven's Gate cult. Investigators in San Diego this afternoon said they've now notified the vast majority of families that one of their relatives committed suicide with other cult members this week. We have learned more today about who they were as individuals, why they were fixated on UFOs, about how they died, and how they left behind many other people who knew not of what they were doing. Many of them were in and out of the cult over a period of 20 years or more. First, let's hear from ABC's Judy Muller.
In the latest bizarre twist, the coroner confirmed late today that male members of the Heaven's Gate group had been surgically castrated. In fact, in the group's farewell video, one member talked of having the operation.
Some students had proven to him that they desired to have their vehicles neutered. And I'm one of those students that did that. And I can't tell you how free that has made me feel.
That tape also reveals the members' motives for taking their own lives, including a chance to leave their human problems behind.
Just the opportunity, the gift is just overwhelming is the only word that I can come up with now.
The man seen here, Thomas Nichols, is the brother of Star Trek actress Nichelle Nichols.
Did someone fire off a phaser?
Today, a spokesman for the Nichols family said they were grieving, even though they had not talked with him in several years, adding, part of the organization's philosophy was to break contact with the family. Another who broke contact was Yvonne McCurdy Hill.
Look at the camera. You look great.
A Cincinnati postal worker who read about the group on the internet. She left her children with relatives back in September and never called once.
She had 5 children from the ages of 19 to 7 months old. 3 boys and 2 girls.
One leading authority on cults viewed the tapes with ABC News and said group members seemed to surrender their personalities to that of their leader, who had convinced them there was a better world in the next life.
For the record, if people want to know why we're choosing to do this, I think this planet has become a very, very hideous place. They take control of you from the cradle to the grave.
And couldn't be happier about what we're about to do.
Both the silly grins and giggles that go back and forth at the same time that she's weeping, I don't think she has any comprehension that she's really going to die.
At least 30 families have been notified, but authorities are having trouble with several of the victims who had false addresses on their IDs, including 8 in New Mexico.
We have to just speculate that this is by design, that maybe it was intended that their past was not able to be tracked.
They may have hidden their tracks, but not their final thoughts.
I mean, I know there was people in the world who thought that I had completely lost my marbles. They're not right. I couldn't have made a better choice.
As painful as it must be for grieving families, those final thoughts are now very public. Judy Muller, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, we've also learned a great deal more about the group's leader, Marshall Applewhite, who was among the dead. He was, said his sister, a man with so much charisma that he could convince others to do almost anything. Here's ABC's Deborah Amos.
He was an outgoing, intelligent child, a handsome young man with a baritone voice. He had an older sister who loved him and talks now about watching him change.
But still a shock. It's hard to know, really. I just really felt like I had to do this so that I could let people know that he was a wonderful person at one time.
At one time, he taught music in Colorado, sang opera in Houston, directed church choirs, and he tried out for a singing career in New York. But he didn't get those roles. Then his marriage ended. The failures changed him. During a stay in a Texas hospital, he was convinced he would die.
He met this nurse who said that she was sure God brought him back for a reason, and that she knew what the reason was.
The nurse was Bonnie Lou Tersdale Nettles.
Something happened to completely change him from a normal person to what he became.
As a cult leader, his message was a mix of astrology, UFOs, and the Bible.
We're so excited we don't know what to do because we're about to re-enter the level above human.
The couple found early followers in Oregon, swayed by the minister's son.
He obviously knew a lot of emotional buzzwords and catchwords that he had essentially been reared with, that he saw worked with people who were seeking, people who were frustrated with their life.
Brad Steiger wrote this book 10 years before Nettles died. He wasn't surprised Applewhite died with his followers.
I was not surprised at the suicide because at the time when we interacted with them most, they were talking about starving themselves to death.
The death wasn't starvation, but this time they did more than just talk about it. Deborah Amos, ABC News, New York.